Hello, beautiful humans. It's Jennifer Norman. Welcome to day 18 of From My Closet. This is a project that I started to help spread a little bit of inspiration, some interesting thought starters, as well as some joy to everybody that's listening at this time. Because this is the 18th episode, I thought that it would be interesting to kind of harken back upon when I actually turned 18 and the year 1988, which was 32 years ago. Kind of crazy. That year was also a leap year. The Summer Olympics were actually held in Seoul, Korea, my birthplace, and the songs that were popular at that time, it was all about hair bands, Bon Jovi, Guns N' Roses, Poison. I think that my idol at the time was probably like Paula Abdul and Madonna from a pop music standpoint. And from what I understand, Debbie Gibson was the the youngest girl to actually write, produce, and record a #1 song. So yay for girls in music. Interestingly enough, knowing that it was a time of change and knowing that 18 is definitely a poignant time in a lot of people's lives because they are graduating from high school and getting ready to go off on college and kind of start their journey into adulthood and independence and finding themselves. So I actually looked back and was very curious to see what some of the news was kind of covering in 1988, and I couldn't help myself, but I stopped when I saw this, that only in the second time in history did Time magazine, instead of naming a man of the year, decided to name an inanimate object as the entity of the year. The first one that they had named was the computer for machine of the year, way back when. Well, coming out of 1988, look what was on the cover. The planet of the year, the endangered Earth. Wow, I just thought that that was pretty interesting. And just to read a little bit of an excerpt on why Time decided to name the endangered Earth as the planet of the year. Here's an article, and I'm just going to read a little bit of it because I found it pretty fascinating, given that 32 years has gone by since this article had been written. Citing droughts, pollution, and a plague of environmental crises, Time magazine Saturday named Endangered Earth the planet of the year. Only the second time in 62 years an inanimate object was accorded Man of the Year status. To emphasize its dire, apocalyptic vision of a planet and its inhabitants bound for extinction, the cover of next week's issue features a suffocating globe wrapped in clear plastic, tied with twine, sitting on a Long Island beach at sunset. Yay for the Long Island girl, too. Another bit of irony that year. The beaches of New York's Long Island and much of the Atlantic coast suffered from a wave of medical waste and debris last summer. Now more than ever, the world needs leaders who can inspire their fellow citizens with a fiery sense of mission, not a nationalistic or military campaign, but a universal crusade to save the planet, Time said in announcing its choice. Unless mankind embraces that cause totally and without delay, it may have no alternative to the bang of nuclear holocaust or the whimper of slow extinction. In a departure from previous years where there were runners-up for the year-end cover, Story Honor, Time said nothing or no one else was even considered for the annual selection of the person, people, or thing that most significantly influenced, for better or worse, the course of world events. What do you guys think of that? It really gives me pause to think that here we are in the year 2020, and we're in the midst of a global health crisis, which really came on the heels of us all feeling overwhelmed by a sense of global suffocation due to climate change, due to pollution and the things that man had done to cause harm to the environment. I can only think that right now, as we're sitting here at our homes, kind of taking a little bit of a breather, that all of us are thinking that this could be a very good thing for the earth. This could be a good thing for a new earth that is to be emerging right now so that we can all live healthier and happier lives going forward. So when I think about my 18-year-old self and some lessons that I would have told her, I think at that time, as I was just, entering into college, it really was all about money. It was about opportunity and career. And it was really about independence and doing things on my own. Now that I've accumulated a little bit more experience and perhaps a little bit more wisdom, I might tell that 18-year-old self that, I think that it's important to know that people around you are there to support you, and you are there to support them, and that's the way that the world goes round. We are here to not only support people, because whatever we do to the people, we do to the planet, and whatever we do to the planet, we do to the people. But we also need to support the environment that we live in and make sure that we're good stewards of her as well. And so I think that, through a lot of, what had come of the 80s and a lot of the materialism and the superficiality kind of leading into, the grunge days of the 90s and getting into the 2000s, where now, I think that on a global and mass level, especially in the Western world, we're finally starting to look a little bit more inward. And so, my advice to my 18-year-old self would have been to look inward more for spiritual guidance rather than for what the passion is that I had, which was pretty much led to, what my career aspiration was at that time. Served me well, but ultimately happiness does come from within, and it does come from understanding and appreciating the world that we have and the people that are in our lives. So with that, I'm curious to hear what kind of advice or what kinds of thoughts that you might have had for your 18-year-old self. Some of you actually aren't 18 yet that are probably watching this video, and so I'm curious what you're thinking about this, and feel free to comment in the space below, because I think that it's really important to see what where your mind's at, and if you think that these videos are worthwhile in terms of like helping to kind of shape thinking and maybe give pause to some issues that might be of importance. And so as I do that, I'm actually going to do something a little bit different today. And that is, rather than taking something from my closet for the giveaway, I'm going to pop downstairs because I discovered that there was something in my kitchen that I wanted to give away that I thought would be more practical. As I was growing up, I was never really good about taking care of what I was eating. I never really thought very much about, not eating McDonald's or Hardee's at 3 in the morning on a college night or whatever. But more recently, I started getting into juicing and doing things, eating a lot cleaner for my body. And so I bought a juicer, but then decided that this particular juicer was not for me, so I bought a different one. But I have this really wonderful juicer, if anybody's interested, that I would love to be able to release off of my hands and give to somebody who could probably benefit from it, because I'm not planning to really use it anymore. So this is a Nutra Ninja 1000W. It does the Pro extraction, it does the XL extraction. And so yeah, I am giving this away. It has been used, I will say that, but it's still in beautiful working condition. You can kind of see that it does work. So if anybody wants it, just raise your hands and I'll send it to whoever is interested and sends me their shipping address. And yeah, you'll get a gently used juicer from Jen. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode today. Let me know your thoughts, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.